Hello, kiddos. So, we are back to doing reading this week with me, and we're going to continue reading Crenshaw by Catherine Applegate. And today, I'm going to read to you 3 chapters. They're really short chapters, so I thought we would just combine them all into one reading. They're chapters 29, chapter 30, and chapter 31. And as we're reading these chapters, Crenshaw leaves Jackson again. So I want you to pay attention to what events in the story led to Crenshaw leaving Jackson. Why is it that Crenshaw left Jackson? All right, so let's get started. Chapter 29. Crenshaw and I didn't chat much during those weeks on the road. There was always someone around to interrupt us. That was okay. I knew he was there, and that was enough. Sometimes that's all you really need from a friend. Boy, is that the truth. When I think about that time, what I remember most of all is Crenshaw riding on top of our minivan. I'd stare out the window at the world blurring past, and every so often I'd catch a glimpse of his tail riding the wind like the end of a kite. I'd feel hopeful then, for a while at least, that things would get better, that maybe, just maybe, anything was possible. So that was chapter 29. Let's continue. Chapter 30. I guess for most kids, imaginary friends just sort of fade away the way dreams do. I've asked people when their imaginary friends stopped hanging around. They never seemed to remember. Everybody said the same thing. I guess I just kind of outgrew him. But I lost Crenshaw all of a sudden after things got back to normal. It was like when you have a favorite t-shirt that you've worn forever, one day you put it on and surprise, your belly button is showing. You don't remember growing too big for your shirt, but sure enough, there's your belly button sticking out for the whole wide world to see. The day he left, Crenshaw walked to school with me. He did that most mornings unless he wanted to stay home and watch Blue's Clues reruns. We stopped at the playground. I was telling him about how I wanted to get a real cat someday. That was before I found out my parents are extremely allergic to cats. Crenshaw stood on his head. Then he did a cartwheel. He was an excellent cartwheeler. When he came to a stop, he gave me a grumpy look. "I'm a cat," he said. "I know," I said. "I'm a real cat." His tail whipped up and down. I said, a cat other people can see. He patted a paw on a yellow butterfly. I could tell he was ignoring me. He batted a paw at a yellow butterfly. I could tell he was ignoring me. A bunch of big guys, 4th and 5th graders, walked by. They pointed at me and laughed, making cuckoo circles with their fingers. "Who you talking to, dumb doofus?" one asked, and then he laughed. That is my least favorite kind of laughing. I pretended not to hear him. I knelt down and tied my shoe like it was a very important thing I had to do. My face was hot. My eyes were wet. I'd never been embarrassed about having an imaginary friend until that moment. I waited. The boys moved on. Then I heard someone else approaching. She wasn't walking, more like skip dancing. "Hey, I'm Marisol," said the girl. I'd seen her at recess before. She had long, dark, crazy hair and an unusually large smile. "I have a Tyrannosaurus backpack, just like yours. I'm going to be a paleontologist when I grow up." Which means, "I know what it means," I said. "I want to be one too, or maybe a bat scientist." Her smile got even bigger. "I'm Jackson," I said, and I stood. When I looked around me, I realized that Crenshaw had vanished. Chapter 31. Yes, we are reading chapter 31. I've sometimes wondered if I was kind of old to have an imaginary friend. Crenshaw didn't even show up in my life until the end of 1st grade. So one day at the library, I looked it up. Turns out somebody did a study on children and their imaginary friends. Fact is, 31% of them had an imaginary friend at age 6 or 7, even more than 3 or 4-year-olds. Maybe I wasn't so old after all. In any case, Crenshaw had excellent timing. He came into my life just when I needed him. It was a good time to have a friend, even if he was just imaginary. imaginary. Okay, that is chapters 29, 30, and 31. And remember, your question for those chapters is, when did Crenshaw decide to leave Jackson? Have a great day.